Well, greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome back to tonight's second half. And I've got a good one for you right now. Before we get into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to tonight's second half, shall we? All right, everybody. Today I have a subscriber who we've been working around each other's schedule to get in touch with each other and get his encounters shared with you guys. His name's Cal, and he is from Kentucky. Cal, how are you?
I'm doing great. How is everybody tonight?
I'm doing good. So pretty much you've been a subscriber with me for a while, so you know how I do my interviews. So I'm going to hand the floor over to you so you can share what went on with you. All right, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, it was modern year season of 2005. I just got home from deployment in Iraq, and been home a couple of months. And at the time, I was staying pretty much at home, and I was going stir crazy. So me and another guy that I served with, decided to start back deer hunting. So we got our tags and everything, and we set out, and there was a county that he knew and had permission to be on the property, and it was an hour and a half drive away from here. It was in eastern Kentucky. When we got there, and another buddy of ours was supposed to meet us, opening day of rifle season, so we got anxious and left early. Set up a stand near a pond. We measured the pond off with the rangefinder at 151 yards. And so we set blind up, and Charlie, the guy that was with me, had forgotten to bring his stand. And I had a double bull stand, it's big enough for two of us. And I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6", a little over 300 pounds. And we're, fine, first thing in the morning, we'll be out here. We'll set and stand. He wants to take one with a bow, a doe. So next morning, we get up and we walk, to the stand. It was pitch black. We couldn't see nothing. And it was a rush job, and all I had was a little bitty pin light with me, so we was trying to struggle to see. And we walked all the way up to the blind, or the stand rather, which was right at a mile away from our camp. So we got in, sat down, He had his bow. I didn't have a bow with me. I had my rifle, which I left at camp because, it was bow season. It was illegal, it would be illegal and unethical for me to have it with me. And we let the forest die down, settle down quiet and get quiet. And 6 o'clock, starts rolling around. You start to see a little bit better, it's not as dark. And, everything comes back to life. We are sitting there, and we hear a little rustling noise down right under the tree, and we was thinking it was a deer, but it turned out to be a gray squirrel. So we got settled back down, around 6:45. You could see, good enough to pull the shot off at, 151 yards. And, with a rifle, but he's using a bow, so, he ain't gonna shoot that far. And we're sitting there, and he starts to speak when we heard a bush rattle, shaking all to pieces, and so we quietened down, and we're sitting there looking, and out steps a doe, and she doesn't look towards anything. She just keeps going, and she stepped out long enough to get her four hooves on the ground, and then she was running. Her tail, which, deer hunters call it a flag, the flag was up the whole time. And she bounded over the, behind the pond, which was a big old valley. And, he's got his bow in his hand. I'm sitting there, he wouldn't want to take a shot at that range with a bow. But, we sit there, and it's like 3, maybe 4 minutes later, we hear this loud noise coming through. It's not trying to be quiet. It's breaking limbs. It's coming through. It's coming through fast. Well, we automatically think, hey, it's rut. It's a buck. Well, the buck, it's not a buck. Lo and behold, when it sets out, something that does, I believed my whole entire life didn't exist, walked out of the tree line. We both stopped and was just like, I guess, mesmerized, is the way you could put it, because there at the pond stood, what we called a werewolf at the time, because we had, I always believed in Sasquatch, but I had never heard of a Dogman before, not until that day. And it was on his hind legs when it stepped out, and it went down to all fours, and I thought, well, maybe, I'm just seeing something, but no, he stood back up, and he was following the doe, and off over the hill he went after the doe, and you could hear him tearing up the country, the whole side of the valley when he was going down. It seemed like it lasted an hour, but the whole encounter maybe lasted 45 seconds, long enough for us to get a good look at him. And the tree that he came under, when we seen him come through, he leaned over to get under a branch. And when we got, when he left, we sat in the stand for a good 35, 45 minutes, afraid to speak. And we finally decided to get down. And we're both terrified. And it's hard to terrify a combat vet. But we finally came down out of the stand. And we had to walk back to the camp. That's where the truck was. I couldn't wait to get there because, hey, my rifle was there, which I had a 300 Remington Model 700. It's a 300 Orca mag. It's not just a 300 Win mag. It's a 300 Orca mag. It's a little bit bigger than the 300 mag. And I think, hey, I got this cannon with me, and I got my Smith & Wesson Performance Series 500 Magnum, and under the seat. I'm good. But, yeah, I'd been good if it was with me. But, it was a mile, and it took us about 45 minutes to get back to the truck, just to walk that 1 mile. The whole time, we were shivering. because we was afraid to. And when we got back to the camp, I turned around and I said, what in the hell was that? The response I received back was, I have no idea. And I looked down and, Toto, that's his nickname, he has his crucifix out rubbing it. He's very Catholic. He's very religious. And I looked, I said, no, I said, what the hell was that? And he looked, he said, the only thing I know, he said, is, a werewolf maybe. And I'm like, oh man, come on. They're not there. And, we're leaving. We didn't take a tent. We didn't take nothing. We walked straight to the truck. And I'm looking for the keys to my truck. I can't find them. And you hear, off in the distance, you hear a yelp. You know how a dog will yelp when, it gets excited or whatever. And we, stopped and was looking, and then we heard not one, but two howls reply to that yelp. One was on the other side of the valley, and the other one was directly behind us. And I'm still frantic trying to find my truck keys, and I look down, and my truck keys are outside the tent where I'd been drinking coffee that morning. Truck, he's hollering, go, 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 and I'm hollering, where's my gun? Where's my gun? And I got my pistol out, and I was getting my out. And I told him, I said, get that rifle. I said, load it. I said, roll the windows down. Anything steps out. No questions. That's it. Open up. Okay, now we're 30 minutes away from the main road. So, we're going down, and for some reason I stopped to see if we could hear anything again. And I looked in the rearview mirror, and there's another deer coming. It's an old dog. It's smaller than the one that we saw that the Dogman was tracking. And she went over the embankment towards the valley. And we're sitting there, and I'm confused whether I want to go, which I should have went, or stay. It's like my mind drew a complete blank. But it wasn't 30 seconds after the second deer had walked up, over the embankment in the valley, that we heard a howl. And it would vibrate the whole inside of you and us in my truck. And it's just, oh God, I was terrified. I was trembling and shaking. I barely could hold the steering wheel. I've never been like that other than one time in my life, and that was the first time I seen action in Fallujah. And still today, I don't think I was as afraid in Fallujah that day as I was when we encountered that and had that sighting.
Right.
It changed.
Cal, really quick, Cal, if you don't mind. You're a big guy, like you said. You're 6'6", a little more than 300 pounds. So you're a large guy. You're a hunter. So you have a pretty good eye. Being a large man, you can pretty much judge height. How big would you say this thing was when it came out of the woods?
Well, what we did is we seen the limb that it ducked under to come out of the tree line. And we didn't measure it that day. We didn't stick around. We just, like I said, we hopped in the truck and we took off. I stopped long enough for that doe to go across the road, and we heard that last hail, and when I hit the gas, there was nothing behind me. You got to imagine we're on a gravel road. There was nothing behind me but dust, because I'm tearing everything up. I hit a pothole, and it had actually busted one of my struts. So, that was a rough ride, and we went back to, it was about 8 miles once you hit the main road to where our other friend was, and we went to his house, and we was explaining what had happened, and he's like, "No, you all just trying to pull my leg," and he's like, "Oh, you all are crazy," and he said it was PTSD, him and my wife both at first, and he said, "We'll go back and get the gear." And I told him, I said, "No, I'm not going back to get the gear." I said, "We'll leave it." And so we ended up, we spent the night with him, and he talked us up into going back the next day after sunup to get the gear. So we went back, got the gear, and we walked back out to the tree that had the stand in it, and we walked over, and there was, it was pretty much like a dog track, but this dog track was big around on the bottom of it. I say, like a can of coffee.
Okay.
So, it's the biggest dog track I've ever seen in my life. And we told him, and, he started looking. He's like, "Wow, man, maybe y'all did see something." I'm like, "Yeah, we told you we seen something." And he's like, "Well, what'd you see?" And we walked over to the tree, and I said, "He came out here, and he had to duck down to get under this tree. And that tree was like 6 inches above me." So we got looking, and he said, "Well, hold up." He said, "Let's measure." And he had his iPhone had a little measuring help thing on it.
Yeah.
And you use it something like a camera, and you put it still, and you raise it up, and it tells you. And what his camera was reading was 7.2, and but so it was 7 foot at least before he had to duck down to get under it. So I say he was right at about 7.2.
Wow.
And I say every bit about 450 pounds. He was just massive.
Yeah. And so he came out, he's standing up bipedal, and then he goes on to all fours. But as he's chasing the deer, after he runs back up on the 2 legs and chases the deer that way, or is he on all fours?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he comes, when he steps out, he's bipedal.
Yep.
He stands there for a split second. He goes down to all fours, and he stands there and he sniffs. And then he raises back up bipedal, and he's off.
Huh.
And you talking about fast. They are quick.
Wow. That's a crazy.
What was really, after I sat down and actually thought about it, he was tracking this deer, this doe, and she's in heat, she's in the rut. And we've used Tink 69, which is deer urine, basically, That's all it is. And we're covered in, we reek. We smell just like this deer. So if the wind hadn't blown his way, he could have seen us. And that has kept me up many a night.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's rut season. There you are, covered in urine, and trying to mask your scent. And this thing's obviously on a mission. And wow, I mean, jeez.
Well, he meant business. He definitely did. When he came out, he meant business. Um, I his snout is what was the only thing that kept him from looking just like a werewolf in my because every movie you see a werewolf's face is like flat like a human's.
Yep.
But he had a snout. I guess it's 4 or 5 inches. I'm just guessing, sticking out. You could his mouth wasn't closed. He kept his mouth open like he was panting the whole time.
Oh, he was panting?
Yeah, so
wow.
I see.
So you could see his teeth.
But he was, after that, when we left, I still left the stand because it was going to take too long to get it down and everything. And I never went back. But the guy, our buddy that we went and seen that day and spent the night with, he went back and he's hunted there. Let's see, he hunted there for 2006 and 2007. But now you can't pay him to even go in that area. He says there's no amount of money to get him to go back there. And we asked him, why is that? And he won't tell us. Well, I know why, because you seen exactly what we seen.
Yeah.
Because there's more than one there, because we heard 2 other howls other than his yelp.
Now, did you notice any eye color when he was walking around?
No, actually, I didn't. I didn't see no eye color out.
Okay.
I don't even think I was looking at his eyes at the time.
Yeah.
I was pretty much in shock.
How about the color of his fur?
It was kind of like a dark brownish red.
Okay. Like a German Shepherd, kind of, or?
It was, yeah, pretty much like about as dark as a shepherd.
Okay.
But it's kind of patchy.
Okay, all right.
He wasn't like a full, he had like, kind of looked like he had like mange or something.
Right. Yeah, we hear a lot. There's a lot of encounters that people say, they're either fully covered with hair, but the majority of them sound patchy, and I think that's just from, being out in the woods. When he's running like that, he's obviously smashing through trees and scrub, and so it's gonna brush off.
The area he came out of was dense. It was so dense you couldn't see. It was thick and it was full of sawbriars and everything. So, you run in through there. It's hard to creep through there without getting tore up, get cut up, and have fur and stuff pulled out. They have to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's the only explanation I can come up with. It's just that when you're even going through the woods with clothes on and you brush, eventually there's going to be spots that get worn on your clothing. You know what I mean? And it's fur, so it's.
I'm a hunter. I hunt a lot, so I buy these pants that are snag and briar proof. Supposed, but after you wear them for little time out in the woods, give them a month or 2, then they start getting worse. So they're getting tore up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was so grateful that he was at the distance that he wasn't no closer. And for 2, because if he was any closer, I don't know what I would have died. I would have had a heart attack.
Yeah, and like you said, you're a combat vet. And you've seen action, and this scared you more than the action you saw. Yeah. So this.
Yeah, and I'm just glad that Toto didn't. If he'd been any closer, he would have. I was afraid that he might have shot at it, and if he had shot it with that bow, it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, after that day, I started. I got into the researching it and everything, and the first channel I ever found on cryptids was Big Compass, and it was an accident. And then it wasn't very long after that I stumbled across your channel, and that's where I've been ever since. And I haven't told a whole lot of people about that encounter. I had another one, but I'll get to it later on because it's kind of personal.
Yeah, I mean, take as long as you want. I don't feel obligated to share it. You know, I appreciate you taking time out of your day and, you know, just to share this with us, you know. So I mean, I'm if you ever just want to even chat about your other one or whatever, you know, just without recording it. So
I will call and chat about it, but we'll do that at a later date because of I was listening to guys and they're like, well, I was carrying a 30-06. I was carrying a 270. I was carrying a 357. I don't care what you're carrying. These old 30 caliber rifles. I was carrying a 300 Ultimate Mag. Okay, and which dwarfs a 30-06.
Right.
And a 270. And I seriously doubt if I took a shot with it. And it got me thinking, so much that I actually ordered myself and got me a 450 Bushmaster.
Yep.
And I also got a 416 Rugby now. Just that, if I go in an area that I'm not familiar with, that they go with me. And I used to carry a 10 millimeter with me in the woods. It's a backup, but now I got a Smith & Wesson Performance Series. It's a 500 Smith & Wesson Mag. I carry it, or I carry the Taurus Raging Bull that I have. It's a 4570.
Yep.
There's I don't know, but that it completely changed my life. I mean, for months after that, every time I lay down, I'd close my eyes. You're looking at this thing. Every time you close your eyes, I've never been afraid of the dark or anything in my life, but there for I guess 6-7 months after my first encounter, if I forgot to take the trash out and it was dark, or if I had to go out and go somewhere after dark, I had a mag light in one hand and hand on my pistol.
Oh yeah.
Scared, and my daughters, they would want to go trick-or-treating and run around in the summer, up till 9:30, when it started getting real dark. No. And they was like, but Dad, I'm like, no, there's no more of this, you don't know what's out there. I do.
Right. And it's hard to, it's because you've seen it, what's there, I know what's there, a lot of our subscribers know what's there, but the Joe normal public doesn't. And then if we say something, we get labeled crazy or cuckoo. And,
yeah.
So I see your point on that. I 100%.
Mine got passed off as PTSD.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Which I never suffered from PTSD.
Right.
We volunteered.
Yeah.
Okay. The 75th Ranger Battalion. You go, you do what you have to do. There's no regret. There's no remorse. You do what you do, and then you come home.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But that's what mine got. Mine got blamed for PTSD, and I'm like, well, PTSD wouldn't make. I don't think or believe it would make you hallucinate.
No. Absolutely not. I mean, maybe if you were...
Be awful powerful PTSD, considering one of my closest dearest friends sitting beside me seeing the same hallucination I'd be seeing. I don't think it works that way.
No. Maybe if you had PTSD and a little bit of schizophrenia, but I don't think, and like I said, with your other encounter, I respect that, you want to hold off on that. Our other subscriber, Lewis, and you've been with me for a while, so I know you've heard him. Yeah. He had that encounter where he kept, he kept in contact with me, like I hope you will. And we talked, and eventually he shared it, but he shared it on his time, and I respect that. And, it hopefully just by you sharing this encounter helps other people share theirs and helps you a little bit by, getting it off your chest a little bit and then getting some positive comments in the comment section, at least this way you're not shunned, so yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and thank you for your service as well, protecting this great country that we live in.
Thank you. That means a lot to any vet, whether they that, if they see combat or not.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a, I can't even explain put it into words how I feel about our men and women who serve our country and sacrifice their lives and time and everything for us so we can, sit and have a channel like this, or, just walk down.
Have a platform to explain an encounter with unknown cryptid, with a cryptid that's known but isn't recognized as an animal.
Right, yeah.
Especially, and your whole life you've been told, oh man, that's just in the movies, they don't exist, it's make-believe.
Absolutely. So thank you on both accounts, sharing your first encounter and your service. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the subscribers before we end the interview, my friend?
Yeah. For everybody out there listening, don't be afraid to go into the woods, because, they're out there. Just make sure your surroundings at all times. Always be aware. Always, if you're still skittish, take someone with you. But one thing, make sure you always have a weapon to defend yourself with. And, that's the last ditch effort.
Yeah.
But always be aware of your surroundings and get out and enjoy the woods and the lakes and everything.
Absolutely.
Because life is short, my friend. Life is short.
Life is, absolutely. Cal, it was great having you on today. I appreciate it. And I look forward.
And I want to thank you, Jill, for letting me come on and talk, tell my encounter and everything. And I want to thank you for having this platform for everybody. And I'll listen to it every night.
Thank you. I just have a platform. You guys are the ones that are helping each other. That's the way I look at it. So thank you, my friend. Thank you. And
thank you.
Have a great day, okay?
You too.
Well, there you have it, folks. Tonight's second half. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. A lot of great information shared with us. Guys, thank you for supporting the channel. It is, after all, your support that keeps this channel growing and going, and honestly, what gives people a chance and a place for them to share their experiences and theories judgment-free. Thank you Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, friends. These creatures are real, they are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for answers, and God bless.